Namo Gurube, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Tashidilik and welcome to all the viewers of the following Rinpoche program, broadcasted by Dharma Television from Bauddha Stupa, Kathmandu, Nepal. I am Khadro Lhamo Yangchen for the 11th episode of for the interpreter for this episode, and we are very fortunate to have Sangngak Tenzin Rinpoche to share his precious teaching for all of us. I request Rinpoche to please share the wisdom with us. Simje namge samba dang loi chida chida wa chejon thumon thebai chogu kholo kodosol.
No mention je anje na de sum sangji genji ngo ne rong sum jo ge ngong sum don za ba. Zawi la me shabla surwan de da jin ruwe lorna chula jer. No la sota tani nabat sangma tani yangchir tani jarwala dan samdru trashide shigiyos.
Tashidilik to see you all again today.
Tani yang terang aso da chutsen samba tang jachigba tendre ning aso ka sang kongla tani lama giwi shinin Cortella tendre shigure. What in the aso da terang tani ma tani kandre share sena. Tatani Zopachimbo tani Kinshil Jarbu Jil Saya Jitantani Jil Tani Tanger Saya. What that Zog Nani Sombi Tani Lama Tang Lumig and Senil Seni. Tandre Tandri in the Tasota Terangasundani Matani Somig and Sanil Sesa Tig Cordelachi Shia Tandrians.
So, in our previous episode, Rinpoche shared about how to rely on spiritual master, and on today, on the 11th episode, Rinpoche is going to share about the qualities. What are the qualities of the of the Dharma students, and as stated by the Kunje Gelpo Tantra, and it is the Tantra of the chief of Dzogchen Tantra. So there it stated about the qualifications of qualified master and spiritual practitioner. So today going to share about the qualification of students.
Tata ni tata konde shibiga tini jil taso gongba tartarwa tenre chidalina jishiba ina tang sang kansu ta chi soma ina yang tini da lama la chi chagja chembo go tani manga naro chi yang na zopa chembo go manga naro chi senerwa ta tenre chi dalina tani shinken ta chi tenre mambore tenre indi ta so tani tangbo karsena tani ta tenre damga sheber shepala tani zoma rang la tani kansu go tan chani kanra chi changgo de serwa o ti go kortela yang.
So nowadays, many Dharma practitioners request Master to share the teachings, to give the teachings on Mahamudra or the Dzogchen teachings and the Dzogchen teachings. So for that, to receive the Mahamudra and Dzogchen teachings, students also need certain qualifications to be the right recipient for these teachings. So it is very important to acknowledge these conditions.
Taba seade gal chimbo chigre tani taba chimbo yamba kandre senatani taba te seade me somba yena teni kansegur jila teni nutorongo marwa tapa mena damga kare chavja chembu damga nangwa inandra zokpa chembu damga nangwa inandra zogo teni sosorangi nut chirgu marwa tenri indi teba seyate ke chembu chagda yopares.
So as per the Kunje Gyalpo Tantra, it is stated that to be the right recipient for these teachings, the students need to have the faith. So without having the faith towards the master and to the teachings, the receiver of this teaching won't be the perfect vessels for these teachings.
Teni teba seyate langarasanta nutte rongumundga teba mena teni soso dhamma ka nutte chakamare teni dhamma ka nutte macha somba ina jila teni chinlabyang jikamarwa kundra jimsen tenri res.
So if the student don't have faith, then they don't be the right recipient for these teachings of pith instructions. And if the student won't be the right recipient for these teachings, then there is also no possibility to receive the blessings.
Tenre indi teni luma ina kandre ngogende senata luma nutang damba segrwa tenre nurdeng luma chi gogre tenre nurdeng luma chi yin somba ina teni tigi lata maso danga tamba ina yang tela teni nurdeng luma tela danga tena pantokore teni jila kangse gore teni sosogu jila yang teni ta chinlap tang teni karsana teni jikere chinlam jikpa ina tela teni sosogu jila kasagu ta nyamdang tokpa segarwa o tenri karsana teni nyam tokla sopa jeya o tenri la teni karsana pantokores.
So, if the student is the right recipient for these pith instructions, then it will be very helpful to them. And after giving these pith instructions, they will receive the blessings, and it will help them to enhance the experiences and realization.
Tenri indi taso kansena tatani sosoga tambode taji shiba nanjin teni tepa gogunda tenri indi taso ta lama la teni kansogore damga mashibi ge ngontela lama ge yang kansogore teni lomatela tagnerwa teni lomatela teni damga ta chu mashibi ngola karsena ne ko jitsul khandra chigri karsena teni ta ti tagoba oteni songyores.
So, before making Dharma connections with spiritual master and with this student also, master need to examine the student, whether the student is the right recipient for these pith instructions or not. So, it is very important procedures before giving the teachings to certain students.
추당 템바든데 지바이나 데네 컨서를 거기 지그 대바데 딱tab고 말와 어떤 저랬지 줄람테 라마데게 영 줄람 지 만라바 지네와 지 콩초와 당 데네 착바라 소바다 든저 그 장당 그더니 갈스는 줄람라 소바 담바이나 아니 거기 대바데 데네 이제 lokkun득 담는데 서와 아니 거기 대바데 든지 그더니 라미 그 줄람 든저 담는다 때나요 공 강서고 코 마들바 마차네로와 네코고 줄람데더니 강서고래 지금 흑마 남신 지니다 바템부지 대기 여바이나 다코지 강서고래 담마고 놀림바가 딱 던지레스.
So if the master conduct in a very the outer conduct, if the master show outer conduct as per the Dharma, then people and the student will spontaneously arise faith towards the master. So this way there is no way to examine the level of faith of the students. So what master needs to do according to test the level of faith of the certain student, then master intentionally show the outer act of being anger or attached. So after showing this conduct which is not according with Dharma, even the student's faith didn't if the student faith won't waver, if the student won't if the student don't have the wrong faith, then this is the sign that this is the right recipient. The student is the right recipient for these teachings. So this is the one way of examining the level of faith of the students.
Tende indi kasi na tada kondishi balanjin lama yang ji julum de pe yapo jinirwa zabse ji chudong thamba ji tende ji ba ina tene karsana ani ji lopri tega jila tapati takya ge tapsi tene yomarwa tende indi asu jumba chudang manthamba ji kola temba ina ta karsana tene kola tapatani ni kansu gu tang damba main tapatembu tene mesomba ina lamsang karsana tene ko tene kanser ta tela tene ji matapatang tene jegirwa 어떤데 indi dindige yang tene karsana ni tagoba odini songyores.
Yeah. So as per to the Kunje Gilbert Tantra, it is stated that if the master act according with the Dharma in outer actions, then there is no way to examine the faith of the students, because the outer conduct according with the Dharma, it is very easy for the students to have the faith. So it is stated to test and examine the level of faith of the students, master need to act which is not according with the Dharma. So this is the one way of examining the master. Examining the student.
Datni andre tni tambote tabare datni nibade karsonyore sena nibade tni zundi sosonyore tni indi taso karsena tni ngaso zundi seyate chunyamlan chebala tal ji lami gyushinin ten dalina ten chunyamlan chebala zundi gogoyore 간절해서는 가서 직된 그 자와자 지 된데 지 들어가이나 존리메나 컨디션 로군다 다가 나진 담비추다 인다인로가 그런더니 그 존리메나 타와당 담진 재미 공부 듣다고 말했어.
So secondly, to rely upon master and to practice spiritual path, the student need to have diligence. So, for example, only to accomplish worldly activities, we need to have diligence. Without diligence, there is no way to accomplish even its very worldly activities. So, in according to practice spiritual path and to rely upon the master, students need to have diligence. So that is very important aspect.
teni zundi takparawa, teni zundi takpa indi taso karsena, tati zundi taktabden kanjare sena, teni shakawi li jolwa serwa, teni jidalina, chigi likayang chung li lau teni mayambarawa, teni karsena, chigi kali kakpo teni karsena, ani likande karsena, jorang teni lika tondangde drupshawo seni, o teni jidalina, teni li taso teni jolgoba, teni songyores.
So now to examine the level of diligence of the students, master will ask the student to accomplish a very hard task to do it. Like if the master say do this and that task which is very easy to accomplish, then we don't need diligence. It can be easily accomplished. Yet it is very important to ask the student to accomplish very hard work, which is very hard tasks, which is not so easy to accomplish.
Teni karsena chi lo tang dawa la soba teni rangang la ta karsena teni nga likan tondang teni drubu yo tang bo chirong likan dasu drub shawo sarawa likan dasu drub shawo sa teni ti likan dasu yakbo chi ni teni drub songba yinna teni ti ji la ta chirong la teni dama kargo wa teni nango sira wa teni chi dali na korang teni kola lika teni chi cholba yinna 다 거기 가서나 지 노동 마든바 지 이나 쿠삼로 카르탄 거스는가 추시가 용이 마동가 리가 제가 레메서와 던지 지디 다소 가서나 오니 리가 도서 제트고 메시니 콘로그와 콘로나 코니 급다롱 딜라 레비오 마레스.
So to examine the level of diligence of the students, master need to examine by giving a hard task to accomplish for months and years. So first master will tell, first do this very hard task for months and years. After completing this, then I'm going to give you pith instructions. So if the student is not the right recipient for these pith instructions, then what they will feel that, oh, I'm here to receive teachings and practice Dharma. I'm not here to do the work. So these are the so then that person will leave the master without receiving the pith instructions. So that is the one way of examining the students of his level of diligence.
근데 인데 다소 가르세나 다치 가르세나 되니 그 코로나 지금 리카 칼리카 보다 가르더니 라마데게더니 강서다 가르 가낭바이나 teni kansagur ta chiko luma notan dambachi ina ota ngala teni damga thobni karsena tendrege teni kansagur chi tharwa tang tamchin chemba ga lamdrbiya ga tendrege damga cha chimbu tendre chi mangbala thoba ina tang ene ku leka kare shapshe kare jego nangi jege yen samnira tendrege karsena yang teni kara samlo yongken yores tendrege samlo yopate kanresena ni ko yang 지금 담가 나게 눌림바가 딱 세고라 뭐든지 레스트.
Yes. So if the student is the right recipient, then that student will think like, if I'm going to receive the pith instructions which lead me to the path of liberations, then however the hard work master given to me, I'm going to accomplish it temporarily, however the hard it is. So if the student think that way, then that is the sign that that student is the right recipient for the pith instructions.
야드니 강서고레다 로마 다지 노땅 담바 던지 임바이나 양코그 삼노 땅땅양 델리 락바카카요레스 가르슨 오다 라미게 드니 카카르 남바이나 테카르스나 추레 테 냠네레 삼니양 강서고레 던지 달리나 리카 리촐바이나 양코노 자성 듬킨 든지기 로마요 요레스 오토조 창마테 가르스나 다 담마 나비고 코로 눌 테치르바 오던지레스.
So the right recipient of these teachings, the student's mentality is also very profound. They will think that if whatever the master asks me to accomplish, to do, then all these instructions to engage in certain activities, all are the part of my Dharma practice, and so they will have such a mentality to accomplish whatever guidance master given to them in a work.
근데 이 따더니 심바데 간르레 세나더니 심바데라더니 냥제세 그래. 근데 인데 사서더니 양 로마티게 질라다 지금 냥제 율멜라용 지 따고 그러와. 근데 제 마토스 제와 가르세나더니 냥제 메바더니 근데 이나용 담가 코랑 더니 다지 조파 첨부당 든지 그더니 담가 삼모테 그 노테 코랑요 작가요 말했어.
So then the third is compassion. So whether the student is the right recipient for such a profound instructions of Dzogchen, like Dzogchen, then it is very important to examine from the master's side whether the student have compassion or not. Without having compassion, then it's very hard to accomplish the benefiting of beings. So compassion is very important aspect here.
다더니 제와텔라 더니 간르레 세나더니 똥와 세게요레 다더니 가르스나 영 지금 좀마테게 라강서고레 다지 라마테게 다 저런라 지 잘라라 소바다 노르데던데 저 참마더니 나라 고근데 세라 지 잘라도서더니 저런 나라 때고그레 세네 든르지달이요 고그 똥풀라 딱바 세라 어딘지 요레스.
And fourth is about examining the level of generosity. So the technique from the master's side to examining the level of generosity is master will tell, I need this and that kind of wealth that you possess to me. So if so that is the way of examining to test the level of generosity from the master's side to the student.
Tene lomate kansa gore chig no tang damba chig tendre inde o ta lama la tani kar goba ina te korang tani tongpol damba rawa tendre yendi ta so tani tepa yang yo tani tongpol yang den rawa tendre lomate karasena ta chiwa ngumani kan limcho yipi ge loma serwa tani lama tang loma se de limcho go ganda tendre ga ta chig limcho yipi ge tani lalo bimbi ge tak korang tendre res.
So if the student think like whatever master asks from me, I'm ready to offer to him. So if the student have such a strong faith and the generosity or the heart of offering whatever master asked, offering to the master, then these two are the signs that this student is and the master have the karmic connection from the previous life.
Ni tendere tatani ngawade kandre senatani dilan zemba se woden songyo re tani dilan zemba se ta ji zomade kandre senati ta dugba chimbuda yenda yenwa ji dugba chungchung la yang pe mas zabzab jeni ra doksun jeni ni tendre zemkwen ji ren digda men de ro woden ji 같이 그 가르스나 지 dugba chungchung to pa ji nangme jeni yang koran 제기로 와 든지 든니 예멘텔라 양 따고 요래서 어떤지 있는다 고 드글란 zemken 든지 있는 바에만 드글란 zem마 딱 개발라 가르스나 강케 임바 땡기 요러 왔더니 개발라 강켄동 아니 드발란 zemken 와 어때요 가르스나 니고 노르든 임비기 따레스.
So now the fifth is if the students avoid in engage of non-virtuous activities. So from the master side, examining whether the student does avoid engaging in non-virtuous activities or not. The not engaging in very big non-virtuous activities is not to mention yet. Even that student avoid engaging in tiniest of non-virtuous activities, then that is the sign that this is the right qualified student who want to engage in virtuous activities and avoid the tiniest of non-virtuous activities.
Ola statni ni chukpate kandre senata ji yang tni mutembu tendre gogres mutembu ro tni jirwa mepa atendri karsena tni te pe kalchembures.
So, and the sixth characteristic of qualified student is that student needs to be a very stable nature, a firm nature, an unchanging nature.
Tendri indita karsena chi maso muje segenda amoge shikaya po tembo de pe maso ke chembure maso karsena chu nyamlan chiba yenang pe maso ke chu pasya de la muje apo tembo tendre gogiyore karsena chi tesi chi yang chi kansa gore ga chok chok dangara chi tesi chi jigmandri chi dig chok chok yonga tendre chi kasere gardig mangbo yongen sagura o dendri yenyang mares.
And to be a very good Dharma practitioner, we need to have the character of being a stable person. So it is not okay if you feel easily joyful, and if certain thing goes wrong, then easily feel very sad. So that is the nature of unstable character. So it is very important to have the stable nature to really pursue in the path of Dharma.
Tene penan jikten batasogan jikten de la mokorang tangbo jiro watani tembo tendela samaga ichechegres tene daga namjeng garsna chi 나서 추념는 쟁간 든들라요 코랑코 무지 템부 든들어 임바에 나더니 듣다 보거든 무지 템부 되게 질데라 강서 그랬더니 다 다바당 영제다지 공도 샤비 그지 드소 참마 대가르스는 윤든 탐질 코랑더니 니 질라더니 강서 그랬다 아찌그레스 다가남진 가르스나데 상 특지 상지당 장접센 받던 드소 탐제 그랬더니 특지당 진럽 그 노트 양더니 그런 착각요 봐 어떤 짓이었어.
And from the worldly perspective, if you are trustworthy and stable, then people will love you. Likewise, to practice Dharma, it is very important to have a very stable nature, because that, if you have stable nature, then you will endorse spontaneously of the character of faith, diligence, compassion, so then you become if you have nature of stableness, then the spontaneous character, spontaneous qualities of faith and compassion all subsumed within that. So we will become the right recipient from the blessing of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
근데 인데 타서 딱 알았으나더니 다 듬바데라 간르레스나더니 조바데니 형 딱 봤던데 근데 인데 타서 따더니 조바더니 딱 봤텔라요 가서 빼마서 그 같이 님부시다나 고 조바데 딱 들고 말했어요. 근데 딱야 말해 던드레스나더니 거기더니 다 셈라 폭파스 냥라 폭그 측기 시와서 요래 지금 가서 지때 시시 당서요 던드 지달리 가르스나더니 가차가 가르가 다 가준색으로 와 던드더니 남바이나데 거기 zott 근데 담는데로 왔더니 던드 zott 바이나 다고 가르스나 아니 노당 담바이 딱래 더니 거기 zott 그 맨네 더니 로이나 다고 네급 가르스나 아니 담고는 마임비 딱 그런 던드레스.
So then the seventh characteristic of the perfect recipient of the teaching is the quality of having patience. So patience is very important. So how to examine the level of patience of the student is, if master say very loving words, very sweet words to you, then your level of patience